Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Carolina Quezada with the Nonprofit Partnership, welcoming you to this segment of Our Stories, Our Time. In this series, we interview nonprofit leaders to understand how organizations are navigating through the challenges of these current times. And today, we continue with our summer series, where we interview organizations with a particular focus on recreational, outdoor, and/or youth activities and programs. And before I introduce our special guest today, the Nonprofit Partnership wishes to thank the Port of Long Beach for their generous support of this series. Now, again, if you're watching us live on Facebook, please feel free to engage and interact with us by leaving a question for our guests or comments in the comment box as well. And with that, I will introduce Michelle Wells, who is president and co-founder of Shared Science, and Laura Thor, Manager of Programs and Processes. Welcome, Laura and Michelle.
Thanks, Carolina. It's really great to be with you here this afternoon.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. So, I just have to warn everybody watching here today that I'm going to be using a lot the word cool and awesome because honestly, when you get to know more about who Shared Science is, what they do, how they got started, you will be using the same adjectives. I promise you, I promise you. So with that, Michelle and Laura, Shared Science is really cool. Tell us all about you. How did you get started?
Shared Science really is cool. We started in 2009. 3 moms got together. One happened to be an engineer, one happened to be a communications expert, and one was super great at accounting. And we all had second graders, and we noticed that even though LBUSD has great teachers, great instructions, the science curriculum, the technology curriculum was a little sad. We were looking at Apple computers that were 15 years old in the computer lab, and considering the skill sets that our students were going to need in the, by the time they graduated high school. So we looked around and we decided that there was a need for kids to engage with science, technology, engineering, math. And so we started with Lego Ed Kits, of all things. We think Lego is the perfect toy, but it's also the perfect teaching tool. So currently we focus on the greater Long Beach area, the 70,000 students that are here in Long Beach. We have programs that start as early as K for kinder. We're going to I'm super excited about a collaboration we're doing with Young Horizons to do some pre-K stuff for the very first time. And then we work all the way up to high school level where we match engineer mentors with high school students on the robotics team that's hosted by Sato Academy.
Wow, amazing. A lot of different moving pieces in all of this and just your foundation. And again, mom's concerned about, again, suppose the quality of education, right? And the interaction and other avenues to really promote creativity with kids. So, but this is interesting. So why engineering particularly? Are kids really drawn to this?
Well, I don't know if I know that there are particular students who are drawn, but our intent is to attract all students to this particular academic field. We look at STEM as the language of innovation. So it's not just science on its own, technology or engineering or mathematics on its own. It's that smushed together, sort of like project-based learning, where you're taking multiple topics and putting them together to make sense of the world around you. And so a lot of what we do in terms of our daily lessons is around the engineering design process. How do you solve problems? First, define the problem, then identify what tools and materials do you have to solve that problem, and then build a prototype, and then test it, and then communicate your ideas. So this whole cyclical process teaches students how to identify problems, how to go about solving them on their own by following methodologies that have been proven over time. And the language of technology, where no one can get away from that. The pandemic has certainly brought that first and forefront. All students, all families have to access information via the internet or digital means. And so having that connection and understanding how to use those tools to the best of your advantage will give you great career success and, that pursuit of the American dream at some point.
Absolutely. And in all of that you talked about and described, the critical thinking, the even like the process mapping that happens, and you may not realize that you're learning how to do that, but the interaction, it sounds like, is pretty fun for them. It's engaging. They get to do things, right? And they get to build things that probably go and move in ways that they didn't imagine.
Yeah, so they're exploring. They're not really. So this is our insider trickiness is, they're learning, but they're not really going through that drudge of learning, right? It's all coming to them naturally. They have inquisitiveness. They can pursue different methodologies to solve a problem. One of the things that we emphasize is failure. It is really okay to fail at whatever task is at hand. Can you learn from it? Can you take that to another level? What can you adjust so that you have better success? Again, all part of that process of innovation. And we know that innovation failures create great products and fulfill great services and needs that the community has at large. We are sending people cruise up into space in private crafts like with SpaceX, but a lot of the products and innovation and ingenuity that goes into sending people, off planet are adapted and used to the benefit of the community at large. So those investments are essential to our progress and to our place in the future.
Absolutely. And Laura, turning to how Shared Science is doing this, I hear that you work with quite a cohort or a cadre of volunteers and instructors. Help us understand a little bit more how the behind the scenes is organized, and all the things that have to happen to bring to fruition these kinds of programs and activities.
So a lot of that, it goes back to our staffing and our board, which we're really appreciative, and how unique they are and what they can bring and offer to the table for Shared Science. We have instructors who are masters at curriculum and bring a wide range of unique activities that are getting kids into STEM and making them, again, like Michelle was saying, it's learning, but it's not learning because you're having fun at the same time and you're still able to engage with the kids. All of our volunteers, like our board, come together to offer their specific skill sets and how we can benefit the Long Beach Unified School District, what we can learn from them, how we can offer our services. We're collaborating with a lot of other different groups like the Salvation Armies, Boys and Girls Club. Over the summer, we worked with Ranchos Los Cerritos to do a monthly visit. So we're always open and available to work with others to make sure that our organizations are out there and that we can offer our services to whoever needs them and where we're needed most.
Yeah, absolutely. So it sounds like your board is also like they'll roll up their sleeves, and the board members are also in the classroom, right? Or engaging with kids as well. So how do you go about then, Laura, recruiting for instructors or volunteers, and are all instructors like doing this as a volunteer? Or tell us more about, kind of the different groups of people you work with.
So with our instructors, a lot of them are working towards their credentials or already have their credentials. And a lot of our recruitment comes from referrals from our boards and our staff. But we also open up internship opportunities from Long Beach City College and Cal State Long Beach so that we can get those future innovators and staff in here that can help propel Shared Science into a new learning environment.
Well, that's great. So you have pipelines to actually engage up and coming young professionals as well. right, in the field and participate in your program, and maybe in the future in governance, and maybe in the future, continue to help contribute to the sustainability of such a cool organization. Use the word what 3 times now on the interview. So looking at the summer, and of course, I'm also curious to ask you some questions around just experiencing the pandemic. But looking at the summer right now, tell us about what you're working on. How is there still time for families to engage with you? Tell us about what you've got going on right now.
Our summer programs are pretty heavy hit. We hit right after the day after school gets out, where our programs start with summer camp weeks. So we've already been rolling for 5 weeks. And so we're actually winding down camp experiences. Although this week we are over at Salvation Army delivering our 4th annual Tech Girls Workshop. And we have a whole cadre of different instructors who are providing half-hour lessons in various areas of STEM-related fields. In fact, today's guest speaker was Rebecca Kama from the city of Long Beach, who was sharing about digital inclusion and her process for getting to the position that she is now. So what schooling she did, and how much technology experience did she have to do or have on hand to be able to perform her job with the city. And the girls were truly engaged and fascinated by the city stepping up and fulfilling this need of the community at large to make sure that there's digital equity and inclusion among the numerous communities that Long Beach has. So Girls Tech Workshop, that is just wrapping up this week. But I did want to share that we have our first Lego League robotics team starting to ramp up. We did a prep class a week or 2 ago, but now our spots are open for registration. Those spaces are limited because we maximize 6 to 7 students per team, and we usually field about 2 teams each year. That's for grades 4 through 8. So any kids out there interested in robotics and wanting to play the annual game that's hosted by First Legal League, this is your opportunity to learn more about coding and programming and, again, problem solving, because the field game is made up of Lego apparatus that you have to navigate around or manipulate in some way to gain points and play the game.
Okay, I even want to sign up for that.
Right? It's super fun. I have families contacting me. Oh, well, my child wants to be with so-and-so. Can you make sure they're on the same team? And we're like, and we say that robotics in our team programs are like sports. So the dedication that it requires is, you're meeting a couple times a week for a few hours each time to practice and get ready. And the season runs the end of August through mid-November, so right before Thanksgiving break, unless they go on to championships, in which case there's another tournament at the beginning of December.
Really cool, interesting. So looking at then, and kind of shifting gears to, we're still in the middle of a pandemic. We're still being impacted by coronavirus, but give us a good sense of how you have had to shift. What happened? What were some of the changes you instituted, whether in your programs or even in the way the organization is, organized? Give us more of an insider's view of what happened when the pandemic broke out.
Mm-hmm. Lori, do you want to take that?
Yeah, sure. So when the pandemic hit, we were still in our after-school program session for the spring, and it was a quick shift of gears to, okay, if we were still open, we had to, make sure we're sanitizing our equipment, kids are washing their hands and taking all the precautions we could, until we were unable to do so within the Long Beach School District. So during that time, we really had to learn to pivot from being an in-person hands-on education organizations to how can we shift to online and still reach those kids and make sure we're having an impact on their lives. Our first summer was kind of brutal during the pandemic, but we were really thankful that we were still able to host a couple day camps, kind of configure how we can still put our programs out there, but still being cautious of the situation going on at hand. To this summer, all of our in-person classes are pretty full, and we're really thankful that kids still want to be a part of our programs. We have kids returning who came from school, our after schools program, and returning. So seeing that impact and seeing the reaction on the kids' faces to be able to do in-person learning again is really exciting and exhilarating. But we've learned a lot throughout the year now, and we can't wait to see what's more to come and how we can shift our learning to better suit the needs of our participants.
Yeah, I would only add that in-person learning has been our priority this whole time. The schools were really committed to getting education back online. And so students were spending many, many hours on screens to get their daily education. So we were committed to trying to find opportunities and partner with other entities like Salvation Army or the May Center or Rancho Los Cerritos to provide in-person experiences that were safe and mindful of the CDC guidelines, but gave those families a chance to reconnect with learning hands-on.
Absolutely. And, you mentioning some of your partners right now also reminds me that ever since we started this interview too, you have been talking about partners throughout and collaboration. And we like to explore how the pandemic has perhaps impacted collaboration. So curious to know from you what the impact has been. But to start off with, you've always been a very collaborative organization to begin with. So tell us more about those collaborations, and has there been any change in the last year?
Well, we like to think that we've been collaborative, sure, but this past year has forced us to take it to a whole new level. So we already had relationships with Long Beach City College, for example, to host our annual Robotech Festival, which was free to the public and had attracted, several hundred family members to experience short STEM learning opportunities and get a taste of what STEM learning was. And with Long Beach Unified, we were there after school at numerous elementary sites, delivering once a week lessons for several week sessions. And that was all going super well. And we had even dipped our toe into during school hours lessons. So we were at Los Cerritos and had just signed a contract with Cleveland Elementary before the sky fell upon us. And being able to teach alternative fuel vehicle lessons for an entire student body was a huge learning curve, but super exciting experience for us to grow into. And so when the pandemic hit, we started looking outward more. So finding places that could host us, because remember, we are where students are. We don't have our own facility. We are on school sites. We go where kids are. So Rancho Los Cerritos was saying, well, we can do outdoor education. And so we partnered up with them, thanks to a mutual connection through the Munzer Foundation. And then we reached out to the May Center, and they had just finished building their beautiful outdoor garden. And so we were able to offer learning experiences in the garden there. And then collaborate with, what's the name of the gardening organization, Laura?
Grounds Education.
Thank you. Grounds Education. They were super fabulous and came out during Robotech and taught in the May Center Garden, part of their curriculum, but it's all science related, right? So, and then we could bring the technology and engineering conversation to it, and they could bring the natural environment and bio sciences to it. So wherever we're going, that is what we're finding. And then with Salvation Army, like we're there once a week, and then we're there all week this week with the tech girls, what a wonderful facility that they have with their new family center, and the willingness to want to bring into their summer program our style of education, so that it gives kids an opportunity to experience that might not otherwise have access to that subject, that type of education. And we're bringing all of the gear. So teaching science, technology, and engineering is not for the faint of heart in terms of equipment and computers that you need, and iPads and software and other tools. Robots are not easily accessible if you're in an underserved area. So those things we make sure we provide. We bring it all and has set up classroom where the kids are.
That's great. And we can't forget the Legos, Michelle.
We can't forget the Lego.
So Michelle and Laura, I mean, as you think back over, the last year and all the changes that you've had to make, the pivots, any lessons learned or anything you want to share as far as, what collaboration has taught you, or what you've learned as a result of being, part of the shared science family, and what collaboration with others means to you?
Laura, you want to start with thoughts, or I can?
On a personal level, it taught me more to be a little bit more outgoing. I have a really shy nature, so reaching out to those partners that like the Ranchos Los Cerritos and Salvation Army, Boys and Girls Club, making those new connections really help expand our reach to those that we're trying to impact. And we're really thankful. I'm thankful for being able to make those connections and talking to new people on a whole new level and learning new things. And I think as shared science begins to grow, and me with it, I want to see us excel and see us continue to do what we do with the students in our area, and even more.
Yeah, just to add on to what she's saying, shared science isn't a large organization. We have 15 part-time staffers and no full-time staff. We have our own office, obviously, but we don't have a large space or facility. We've been small but mighty, trying to do the most good with the smallest budget. And these collaborative partnerships that we've developed have helped us expand our reach without a lot of economic commitment, and to make sure, like Laura was saying, that we are reaching more families and students with our programs. And we weren't able to do that as successfully before we started concentrating on it, right? The pandemic forced us to look at those. We were pretty self-sufficient before, and now we realize, wow, there's so much more power in having friends. Who knew?
No, absolutely. And this is why we love exploring this with everyone, we talk to in our stories, our time, because we're hearing, just a lot of stories around how organizations are really valuing now even more so. Not that it hasn't been valued before, but just this necessity, I think, really creates a whole different dynamic around, let's really look at this differently. Let's kind of try and collaborate around some things and maximize some output or some outcomes here together.
Now, I would like to especially acknowledge the nonprofit partnership. Truly, the training that the nonprofit partnership provides has been truly instrumental in our success as a small organization, providing the tools and resources that we wouldn't have access to otherwise, and making us mindful. So we are small but mighty, but we act very professional. We have the corporate training and experience because of the level of professionalism that the nonprofit provides organizations like ours, to make sure and ensure that we know what are the latest legal trends and what are and bringing about those networking opportunities, so that like I had attended a marketing training as a refresher and had met with another marketing person from Young Horizons. And so we were able to make that connection naturally. And help both of our programs. So making those connections is something that we are super, super appreciative of the nonprofit partnership. And thank you, Port of Long Beach, for supporting us as well, and the nonprofit partnership.
Wow. Thank you, Michelle, for that. Thank you so much for sharing that. And, I think that as we look now to the future and what the future holds for shared science, tell us a little bit more about what's on the horizon for you. For example, Laura, is there a particular focus on recruitment, on maybe more collaboratives? Tell us more about what's on the short-term outlook for shared science.
Well, as mentioned before, a lot of our staff and instructors are working towards their credentials. So recruitment is key right now, especially during their fall. We hope that Long Beach Unified School District will open this doors to outside programs so that we're able to reach those students after school, before school. And then on a larger note, looking to see where we can meet the students, where we'll be at, and making future connections with those with like-minded missions.
Yes, absolutely. All of those things. We are super hopeful that the school district is able and can accept programs from outside back onto campuses. That's a huge, huge step for us. Without that, it will be the same year that we just had. So hopefully that will happen. Yeah, we are looking for after school. We are looking to do more collaborative partnerships. So if you are an organization watching us today and interested in having a STEM related activity added on to your normal offerings for your public and the residents of Long Beach, please consider us. We can adapt our lessons to almost any topic, again, because it's that collaboration of STEM, not singled on one specific area of science or technology.
Right. And also a good opportunity for organizations who may already have their own sites, right? That this could be a good way to partner together. And maybe they're not serving youth or children in the way that you are. Mm-hmm. Maybe they're providing services to families, but bringing you on board as a partner could probably be a nice way to augment just that whole experience for everybody. So with that, can you share your contact information so those wishing to get a hold of you know how to reach you?
Yeah, Laura, do you want to put that in the chat?
So you can reach us on any social media platforms such as Instagram, Shared Science Fun, Facebook, Shared Science Fun. We're also on Twitter as Shared Science Fun. And then our online website, sharedsciencefun.org. You can check out our programs there, more about our missions and our statement, who we've impacted, how many students we've reached. And we're always looking to see how we can help our communities.
Yeah,
grow.
New opportunities. We want more fun times, more cool opportunities, awesome opportunities.
Because shared science is cool. Let me tell you, you partner with them, just way to magnify the cool factor.
Yeah, this week we've done strawberry DNA. We will do enzymatic reactions tomorrow. We do robotics, coding. We have these cute little robots from iRobot called Roots that we are testing out, and we're coding using an online tool called Replit for Python coding. So quite a range of stuff that we teach based on the expertise that we, whoever's teaching, right? Yeah. The instructors that we have on hand.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Laura, Michelle, if there's an email, do you want to share an email where maybe if people just want to send you a quick email? Is there
Sure,
one?
I'll type it in.
And if you wouldn't mind saying it out loud too, there we go.
It's info at sharedsciencefun.org. Yes. Don't forget the fun.
I was just going to say, the operative word in all of this, folks, is fun. So for those of you not on Facebook Live and watching on another platform, again, you want to get a hold of Laura, Michelle, their colleagues, and learn more, collaborate more. It's info at sharedsciencefun.org. And with that, just want to share a big, just say a big thank you to both you, Michelle and Laura. Thanks for taking the time to share with us a little bit more about, how fun it is to be part of Shared Science and how amazing actually in all of your partnerships. I think we learned quite a bit about you today, how you work, and what's coming down the pike as well. So with that, thank you again, and we will see you all next time on
All
Our
right.
Stories,
Thank
Our
you.
Time.